Hello, welcome to the Reloading Podcast here on the Firearms Radio Network, presented by Patriot Patch Company and Camarado.com. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Doing good.
Hey, Sharenda, there's something creepy over your shoulder.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, a deer skull.
I was talking about the press on the wall, but that's okay.
I don't think it's a press. I think it's a duck call lanyard.
That's not a press.
Is it?
Yeah, that's just the feminine decorative thing to hold my claws, a couple of knives, my
Kind of
hunting
looks like you
flashlight.
slammed a.
It
Well,
does
in
kind of
the-
look like it looks like an RCBS press hanging back there.
Right?
It does, yeah.
Okay, I'm not the only one. Thanks.
It's like a little rock
Hilarious.
chucker or a rebel or something.
Those are still in the boxes.
Gracie.
Stay tuned. Are you trying to
Now we can see it better.
that device? Yeah.
Ooh, and a cognac sign. Nice.
Yeah, there's
European mount.
booze, hunting, and reloading stuff is throughout the whole house.
No, you're still in the process of moving again?
No, just finally getting off my arse and
Oh.
getting stuff situated.
So, all right, Ray, what you been up to?
Done traveling for a little bit. Decided going to Vegas, come home for a week, go back out on the road for a week for work, then help Nick around his house with a few projects. And I'm home for about a month and head back out. And didn't do much gun stuff. Went to a gun show with Nick and didn't only spend $5 to get in. So I did. But other than that, all quiet on my front.
How about you, Nick?
Work's been crazy. It was a very depressing Sunday, but that's here or there.
We'll give you hugs, buddy. You made
But,
it
like, when-
farther than 29 other teams.
Exactly. Hey, it's
Or
we made it
31. It's yeah.
We made
30.
history as it was, though. That's the way I look at it. But yeah,
And you
like my dad
didn't make
said-
history like the Bills, where you made 4 straight but didn't win any of them. So
Exactly. But yeah, like my dad said, went to a gun show on Saturday. I picked up a 1897 Winchester trench gun heat shield for a really good price. So starting to look for one of those to start a project. Either a 97 or a Winchester Model 12. They fit the same thing. So, but that's a project we're looking at starting. Not much on the reloading front for me. The bench is really covered with a lot of stuff that's going to be going in the vault or whenever that's finished. So, but we figured out how much drywall is going to be needed, and next time Dad's out here, we're going to get the room drywalled and mud and taped, and that's the hardest part. It's pretty much done. So,
Jim, how about you?
I actually did something for once. I stored wheel weights for about 4 hours Sunday. Nice warm day, not compared to what we got now, but beautiful day. It was in the mid 70s. I actually just had to strip down to a t-shirt.
Nice.
Got about, I'd say, 3/4 of a 5-gallon bucket sorted. Still mostly them damned iron weights. Now I've got a mixture of zinc and lead, which of course I'm separating. I'm pleasantly surprised. But the bigger wheel weights, like 4 ounce, 5 ounce, they're always lead. A lot of guys say, how do I tell the difference between lead and zinc? Lead, you can bend. Zinc, you ain't bending it, not by hand. Bless you, Sharenda, you're killing yourself. You're welcome, Donna. How are you, dear? Did you do anything this week in hunting, reloading, promoting the cause for the ladies, all that sort of thing?
Kind of,
Please?
sort of. I did my first 3D archery shoot and got surprisingly first place. So I'm excited about that. I'm just waiting to get home an actual trophy. And I didn't hunt last weekend, but the weekend prior to, we did a mommy and me squirrel hunt, and I was shocked. There was actually some sons that were out hunting with their mom, teenagers, and I got completed my Missouri Hunter Education Instructor certification. So now instead of bitching and moaning at the conservations about not making it convenient for people to get to the classes, I want to actively go out and assist and offer those classes. So finally got one thing off my checklist done. Deer season's done here. I'm actually gonna tomorrow start checking the calendar and see what's coming up next. Freezer is full. Absolutely, all 2.5 freezers are full. So I'm fat and happy.
That's a good feeling.
It is fat and happy considering I had 0 from when we had a power outage here in Kansas City, and I lost everything in August. So it was touch and go there for a second. And I'm preparing for the snowstorm tomorrow. I don't know if it's going to be a storm, but it's cold as heck here. It's a weird 32 degrees. I need to see what the wind chill is, but you stand outside for a few minutes and your fingers will turn purple. So that's about it. Nothing else. Just sipping the good coffee as I find the coffee makers that have been packed away. So it's just been a Dexter experiment over here. And ooh, I didn't know I had this reloading press. It's like Christmas over here all over again.
Oh, Sharonda.
I know. I'm pretty.
Just chuckling. So I was down sick with something or other. I think influenza A or whatever it was. Over the weekend, so I didn't do squat other than lay on the couch, and thankfully I didn't have the norovirus, which is the nastier one. That's where it comes out both ends while you're coughing your lungs out. So quite a few people at work had that, so that was fun. But loaded up a couple of rounds of 5.56, so that's about it. But Derek,
Just
welcome.
a couple.
Thanks for having me.
So Derek, first off, tell us a bit about KidSafe.
So KidSafe, so we're a nonprofit based in Oregon, and we teach firearm safety and accident prevention to kids. And, since our founding back in 2016, we just went over 30,000 kids reached in 9 states. And it's all about, getting exposed to firearms, normalizing gun safety, and then getting them on the range. And, obviously with what you guys are doing with reloading is, what are you guys doing to think about the next generation? Are you doing any kind of incorporating our kids or our grandkids in the process?
Through the reloaders, yes. I mean, we don't have any programs that we've started or anything like that. We've kind of kicked that around a little bit, but we haven't really gotten serious about something like that. But definitely need to. We've definitely had conversations on that.
Yeah.
So it's something we're looking into, but nothing serious. It's some of it's a lack of time at the current moment, but
yeah. And that's, something what we're trying to do is just, get to the next generation, get them involved and show them that, there's nothing to be afraid of when it comes to firearms. Being in Oregon, it is a challenge because, some don't like guns here. But still the kids need education. And that's where we come in.
So how did you get involved and how did it come about?
So long story. So the long story is back in 2013, I had an experience where a gun was actually used to save my life. I caught caught somebody in my vehicle, got into a physical knockdown, drag out fight with him, and ended up getting saved by my girlfriend at the time with a pump action shotgun. And so, you know, we were basically the good people with a gun. And from that, I became an instructor. And as I began my career as an instructor, I realized that, you know, there's one night I was driving a dump truck in the middle of the night working a construction project, and there was like this flash of light, and there was a voice that said I had to protect the kids. And I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know if I had too much Red Bull, if I was hallucinating, but the only thing I could figure was it was the universe telling me to do something. And so I started looking at programs. You know, there wasn't one that really met what I wanted to do, and so I started, developing my own. It took about 2 years to put it together. And then, you know, we became the nonprofit in 2016, and here we are talking to you guys. And it's been probably one of the greatest honors, is just being able to make sure our kids are safe and be able to have a voice for those children that need the opportunity to be taught good life experiences.
Okay. So if we were looking to say, in Oregon, okay, so it says Oregon, Washington, California, Arizona, Hawaii, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, and Kansas.
Yep.
That's quite the little interesting spacing. Not a lot of congruous states there. How did you wind up with so many different states? Is it just people reaching out to you, or?
Yeah. So as the message gets out, I mean, our network gets bigger and bigger, and that's why I met, Nick and Ray at SHOT Show, and it's just, it's these chance meetings, and then people want to be a part of it, and then, sponsor us to go out to their locations. And the goal is to be able to, because we have an instructor development program, and the goal would be to get the funding from the industry. That's why I went to SHOT Show, is to get industry support. So then we could have like an organization in every state and a chapter in every state. And that way we can turn that 30,000 into 1 million and beyond. And, that's where, we have to, the industry has to do better about investing in, I see that, Sharenda has a great organization. Is we need industry support. We need them to invest in the next generation. Because that's what we're doing, is we're doubling down on the next generation, because the next generation is truly the future of everything that we're doing currently.
So
And
do you
and,
go ahead?
and so I've made connections, and so now we're planning to go back to the 4 states, like Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. So we're going to do that little tour again, and then we're adding Texas as well. And so it's all about just keep moving forward, putting one foot in front of the other and doing the work, and getting more people involved.
Derek, I'm gonna send you my email information when you're coming back to the Missouri area. Can you give me a heads up?
Absolutely. What I'd love to do is see if I can, somehow involve you guys, what you do, and it's all about, cross promotion and showing, sharing our audiences. Right. And so that's kind of the awesome thing that what we're trying to do. And the collaboration is really, really important. So I'm glad to be here to be able to kind of talk about what we do to your audience.
Folks,
Yeah, actually,
Derek,
sadly, sorry, dude.
Derek, feel free to use the private chat we have here on your screen.
Okay.
Because that's where Sharenda's finding information for you, sir.
He did already. He put his link and stuff in there.
Yep.
Good.
Until today, this is actually the first time I had heard of your organization. So that would be a good tool, especially with some of the stuff that I'm trying to do in the KC metro area with youth, because that's my sole purpose, is to get youth and family Hunter Ed certified. So this would pair up good, and at least share the information as well.
Well, absolutely. And I want to, I think when I go back to Missouri this time, I'm going to start in Kansas City and go to St. Louis, because I've got partners there, and then go down to Columbia. So I'm going to make a big loop there. I'm going to expand my loop. It's probably going to go 9 days this time. That's what I'm trying to do. And that way I'll be able to offer more classes, more locations. Like when we were there last July, we did 11 classes in 6 days. I mean, it was like bam, 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 bam. And, multiple classes per day, which is not a big deal. That's what we do here in Oregon. Like I do 3 classes a day in different locations. And it's just, I've got it down now. And I know the route. I know my partners and I have them in place. So it's pretty turnkey now. So I'd love to add you guys to that.
Yeah, definitely. And if I have any other resources in some of the places that you're going to, if you give me a heads up of you're traveling, I'll get you connected with them and see if you guys can partner as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Derek, most of your classes, are they taught through school districts or social organizations that set them up for you?
So typically we partner with police departments. We partner with Bass Pro Shops, Cabela's. We do teach in the schools. Typically in Oregon, it's going to be a charter school or a private school. I did write a Senate bill in 2019 that would authorize our program for all public schools for first graders. And so we're going to try that again. And so basically churches, church groups, wherever we can get in front of kids, and we'll talk to them. Okay. We've set it up where we can blow up inflatable ranges and do all sorts of different networking events and just getting the kids exposed, get them excited, getting them involved. And that's the greatest thing that we could all do is share our love for either the outdoors or for safety or for guns or reloading. Just share it with the next generation because we're I don't know about you, I'm not getting any younger. And so I need the next generation to step in and hold and carry the torch for us.
Okay. Your program, does it pick up from the child is already introduced to the gun and how to get familiar with it? Or do you start from the very beginning? They know nothing about them. If you run across one in your house, this is what you do, etc.
Yeah. So it's like in our Kids Firearm Safety 1 class, it's a 1-hour class. We talk about accident prevention. So something similar to Eddie Eagle, but we're more modern. Like we're talking about technology. We're talking about online safety, anti-bullying. There's been school shootings that we've stopped because of kids that have been through our program. And so what we're trying to do, and that's the benefit of being a small organization, as Sharnita would know, is we're more nimble. And so we can go where those threats are to the kids and we can change our messaging. We can change and develop new parts of the program to be more effective at what we do. And then, that's typically going to be kids that are 4 years on up. And then we have, 7 to 8 when we get them on the range with rimfire rifles. And then we have a teen program as well, where we're getting, teens that are, we're shooting suppressed rimfire rifles, which out to 100 yards, which is fun. And so it's just about, making sure that you're putting out positive content too. I know it's real kind of a thing to have the clickbait type stuff, but as an organization, we try to put out stuff that we want to see in the country and in the world. And our Facebook page is kind of blowing up. It was before I went to SHOT, or in December, it was about 4,500 followers, and today we just went over 30,000 followers in like a month and a half. And it's because some of our videos have gone viral, and so there's some good and some bad that comes with that. But it's all about basically promoting responsible gun ownership all across the country. And as we all know in this chat, we're not the problem, and we're the solution. And so I'm hoping that we can get that microphone from people that try to take away our rights and be able to showcase an actual viable solution.
Excellent. Well, Sharenda, if you get something set up in your area, I'm sure Nick and I would be willing to help you out. So,
see, Derek, Ray, and Nick all need to get out of my head because I'm sitting up here jotting notes, brainstorming right now, and y'all beat me to each of it.
Well, let's do it. I mean, that's the whole benefit of this is just, we don't know what we don't know. And it's connecting these dots. And it was just a chance, meeting at SHOT Show. And that's how this all came across with Nick and Ray. Nick telling me a very important story about safety. And then what's amazing to me is I'm actually going to see the guy tomorrow. But after I left that meeting with you, I met and spoke with another guy that had the same thing happen to him last year. And that's like 2 really important talks within an hour on in regards to safety, and so that's what's really important is it just takes 1 second and it could be, life altering.
Hmm. And that's one of the things I've been running into issues with, not so much now as getting started is even finding a place where you can hold events of this nature at. Like I would love to do a youth reloading event here in the area, but the problem is we don't have anywhere to have that at, and I definitely don't want strangers knowing where I lay my head. So yeah.
Hey, Sharenda.
Yes.
Cabela's and Bass Pro should have a room you can rent out.
For reloading?
Yep.
If not, I'm gonna tell
I
him
think-
Mike said you do.
I think Shields does too, don't they? I've never been. I know
I
one
don't-
here locally does, but Kansas
Most,
City.
pretty much all the
Shields
Shields have
does.
training centers. Yeah,
Yeah,
they have
do.
training rooms. Yep.
I'll ask him about that. I just never thought to inquire about reloading. I didn't know what type of liability it was. Hey, Paul.
How you doing?
I don't think there's much liability because if you think about it, Shrenda, they sell used guns, and they have to test those used guns. So they're firing the guns behind the scenes. So then they're shooting into a snail.
That's fair.
So because I used to work
Well,
at Shield, so that's
Yeah, Shields
Oh, I know
does.
that.
Cabela's Bass Pro doesn't. They
yeah.
don't fire.
Okay.
That's one thing I know about the Shield side of things.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
I will say about the Bass Pro and Cabela's, they do have policies about, cable locks on or trigger locks on every gun that comes in the store. So they might have a policy against it. So just check with them.
I actually worked for a Bass Pro, and I was
Mhm.
looking into doing reloading classes. And as of a year ago, they had no policy against doing a reloading class. Whether that's changed or not, I don't know, because that company is run by lawyers, and the lawyers are a bunch of idiots. But Johnny's off fishing somewhere and doesn't have a frickin' clue what they're doing to his company.
No.
So
How do you really feel?
like my bosses won't let me even anywhere near the regional management when they come near the store.
Gee, I wonder why.
So,
Oh,
but yeah, definitely need to get more involved with kids and with gun safety, and I want to see it back in the schools.
Yeah.
I'm actually I actually work for a school district full time, and our school district and our local municipality have now started to pair up to make a point of firearm safety. And so I had, as soon as they had sent that email out, I dropped a line to the superintendent, who I have a relationship with from working there. And so we talked a little bit, but we're going to get to talk now a little more. And so that's why I was excited to find out about your program, is that's what I was kind of looking for. And I didn't really want to have to build one. I mean, NRA had Eddie the Eagle, and stuff like that, which was okay. But I didn't want to have to, build one if there was an existing one out there that we could, get involved. And it sounds like you're there. So
Yeah, I mean, the NRA has done some great things for us as gun owners, but the problem is they haven't evolved with the times.
no.
And a lot of it is they're written by attorneys as well. So there's a lot of, because there's liability involved. I get it. But the whole point of what we're trying to do with gun safety is mitigate risk, and we mitigate risk by making sure that we're following the same principles every time, and trying to reduce that risk. And we can only do that through, actual life experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100% agree. Online options are great, but sometimes you just need that classroom setting so you can ask additional questions and see things at hand, or be able to observe other people doing the same thing, especially for kids. They need to see repetition.
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's been kind of cool is ever since we did that tour, now Arkansas is reaching out and I'm starting to work with parole and probations in there's a lot of teens back in Arkansas that are actually taking guns to school. And so they get caught with a gun. They shouldn't have the gun. They're sentenced, and so they're sentenced to parole and probation, and then parole and probation tasks us with teaching them gun safety, so it's a way for us to actually get the message outside of our normal crowd and show the importance of gun safety. And that's why these kids need to be taught it so they're not, putting other lives at risk.
Yeah, because unfortunately, the current youth, their exposure to firearms isn't very healthy, shall we say?
No, and
it's either a message of they're inherently evil, or it's from the video game and Hollywood world, which is inherently and abhorrently unrealistic. And there is no foundation in reality of any of it. And what I did with mine when they were we my brother and my dad and I were shooting the whole time with them. But what we did is I took out pumpkins, and I had the simple test I did is I just had each of them poke each other in the chest. And I said, okay, so you feel how hard that is. And then I said, now poke the pumpkin. And I said, is the pumpkin about as hard as your chest is? And they go, yeah. So then we went back behind the bench, eyes and ears on, and I took a 22 and I put one round through the pumpkin. And then we made the range cold again. And we went back out and looked and saw the hole all the way through the pumpkin. I said, that's what a gun does. And they'd watched me play Call of Duty. I'd been playing Call of Duty with my brother and everything. And but it was at that moment, that was their aha moment, that they realized that, oh, this is the real world and this is real firearms and this is what happens. And kids don't get that.
No, and I think technology, social media, like we have YouTube. There's kids are getting all their information from, I wouldn't say necessarily the right sources. There's so many kids I see that, Kentucky Ballistics. They don't call them Kentucky Ballistics. They just call them Kentucky for short because that's where they're getting their information on guns, and he's good or bad, depending on how you're looking at it. But when you're like 6 or 7 years old, is that really the kind of exposure you want to have for your children, is something that's blowing up things, And so,
right.
I have to kind of bring them back to reality. And that's where I'm handling an AR-15 in the class. And we're talking about, its uses and the features and the functions. And, a lot of kids say that's a machine gun, and that's like, no, this is only one round per press of the trigger. And so we're talking about how I load it, how I unload it, how the firing process works, so we're normalizing this process. And we also talk about, the semi-automatic handgun, and we show parents how to properly load and unload it. Because if we do it in reverse, the gun's still going to be loaded, and that's how people get hurt or killed all the time.
Right.
And a lot of times that's when you see that light bulb go off, and you see the wife kind of look at the husband like, you don't do it that way, or, something like that. So the whole point is just to make sure that we're all on the same page,
If I could say, I'm older than just about everybody here, other than maybe one. But I learned from my father at 6 years old about firearm safety, how to properly handle a gun, and the permission to get one out from him to handle it. And, went to the age of 12 when I got my first shotgun and was bird hunting with him. So I think we have a big disconnect in the population as far as the ability that has one in the home, but is unwilling to teach the younger generation, their kids, how to safely handle a firearm.
And I think you're right, because I think the media, the politicians, the teachers have done a really good job of demonizing the tool, right? We blame the tool, yet we don't hold Nerf accountable for, 3-year-olds getting sold a blaster at 3 years old that has a longer effective range, a longer, more magazine capacity. And so our kids at 4 or 5 years old are shooting each other with Nerf guns. And then fast forward to 15, 16, a tragedy happens, and we want to blame the Glock or the rifle, as opposed to the 18 different steps it took to that kid to get to that position, and so we go ahead.
I really, I don't know if I can blame the Nerf gun or the squirt gun or whatever we had in those days. I blame the parent, because they're not taking the child to task to teach them the responsibility of what it takes to own one. When my kids grew up, and mine are in their 40s now, they're sitting there going, okay, at 6 years old, we start with the BB gun. At 12, they get their 22. Dad, can I take out from the gun safe? Can I take this out, or can you show me how this works? So they have a very rounded education in a firearm. So safety was their first thing they're taught. If I would hand one of my daughters a gun, the first thing they would do was open it to see if it's loaded. Remove a magazine. If it's a magazine fed gun, if it's a wheel gun, they'd open it and inspect it, in a safe direction, away from everybody else. That's indoctrinated. That is how parents should be teaching. I feel parents should be teaching their kids. My granddaughter, who just turned 19, is the same way. I can hand her a gun, and she can point it away from everybody, drop the magazine on a handgun, open the chamber, look inside, see, yep, there's no bullets in it. Okay.
How do we get back there as a country?
Well, as a country, we have to make the parents have to be able to take responsibility for their children, isn't it? Wasn't that our responsibility?
But I think a lot of parents figure, okay, we don't want to introduce our children to guns, feeling they're protecting them. I think it works the other way around. You have to introduce them to guns, how to safely use it to protect them.
Absolutely.
Well, I use the analogy. It's like the hot burner. Like, you tell your kid not to touch the hot burner. What's the first thing they do? They touch it, because that's how they learn. And that can be a painful reminder. But, when it comes to a firearm, you say, don't touch that firearm. What's the first thing? And that could be life altering, or it could be fatal, depending on the situation. And so, just normalizing these conversations. I definitely agree that parents need to be more accountable. A lot of times, though, we see it is these kids are being raised by cell phones or video games, and that's not reality. And so the parents also have to do better about how they're, exposing their kids to that type of stuff,
One of the key foundations of your program, though, is you require the parents to be there.
Yep. Yeah. It's surprising how many parents just want to drop their kids off. Like, no, we're not a babysitter. We're here because there's stuff for the kids to learn, but there's also stuff for you to learn. And and when we're talking about secure storage, are you using a lockbox or a way to keep that gun out of reach? So there's things that they kind of have to look at in their own lives. Like, am I doing everything appropriate? And am I being responsible? And it's really easy for them to say, well, we don't have guns in the home, and so I'm not going to worry about it. But what if your kid goes to someone else's home, right? And that's where Billy knows that you don't have guns. He knows where his dad's gun is kept. And so Billy wants to show your kids the gun, and that's how your kid gets hurt or killed, and so that's where we're trying to just, hey, have this conversation. Like, you don't care if they have guns or don't have guns or afraid of guns, but you do care if that gun's in a couch cushion or in a sock drawer, someplace, and obviously when I was a kid, when I was raised, guns were kept in a closet, and we used to take guns to school and we go hunting after school because it was
Mhm.
completely normal. Obviously this is a different era now.
Right.
So it is what it is.
The question about the lock boxes and that, I can understand that. Catching a 4-year-old nephew that decided to climb a chest of drawers
Uh-huh.
to get a handgun out, that he didn't know was in there. He was just going to see, and he saw what it was, but guess who was right behind him? He got warm bottom for that, but it's the parent, my sister-in-law and brother-in-law then taught him what a handgun was, what a gun was, at my insistence, because of that. And now he's a very safe sportsman.
Good.
But again, they had guns in the house. They did not lock them up like we think that, we want everything locked up. But some things are just too easy for children to get into. And you would think a 6 foot tall chest of drawers would deter a 4-year-old.
Mm.
That's why you have to bolt them to the walls now, because they climb them and pull them over on top of themselves.
Oh, we're talking
Right.
about the dresser or the children? Hold them to the wall.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Well,
easier to
yeah,
bolt children to the wall, but unfortunately people kind of frown on that. So
Well,
I find like the best thing we can do is just educate our kids about guns, because they're
absolutely.
curious by nature, and if we can educate them, like the storage is another component to that. But in reality, if you take that novelty away, the kids are less likely to want to go pick it up and play with it, and so that's kind of what I advocate.
That's exactly how I did it. I would take the gun apart, let the kids play with it, show them how to put it together, always making sure the magazine was empty and the ammunition was well away from the children. The other part I taught them to was I took them to the range, we had lived on the farm at the time, took them up on the hill or whatever, and I'd show them the variation of Mike's pumpkin test. He used a 22 rifle, I used 223. My 10-year-old daughter loved my Mini 14. She could field strip it, she could unload the magazine safely, and she could reload the magazine just as safely.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. The thing is, too, this is a lesson you have to make sure the children understand. It's a lesson for life, and it has to stick.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking. There's 400 million guns in America, and 320 million people. Now,
That's right, Paul.
So we're sitting there going, there's a real good chance that a kid is going to run into a gun. Period.
You betcha.
They find
So
That's why I made sure my kids were exposed from in the home when they were toddlers.
right, and same here. But there's the situation is there's too many parents that are sitting there saying, I don't want my kid exposed to that, even though they have a gun in the house.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want my kids exposed to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the wrong way. See, I grew up in a house up until the age of, I don't know, what are you when you're a Cub Scout? My parents didn't have a gun. If they did, it was very well hid. I went to a Cub Scout summer camp, got introduced to, of course, I grew up with dart guns, but them were safe. But when I went to Cub Scout summer camp, I got introduced to a BB gun range. When I went home and my parents seen that I was interested in that, then that's when they got involved and progressed right along with me. We took, hunter safety, all the stuff. Then I got my first 22. We'd go shooting together. So once I got the interest, they jumped on board I learned everything I need to truly learn. And I think that's at most, even if you don't have a gun now, parents got to get interested in their child's safety.
Yeah, and I think we have a PR problem as an industry. So if we can do whatever we can to, get a little uncomfortable and expose people that might not have exposure to firearms, that's how we're going to build those bridges and hopefully get people that will either show interest or at least put away that preconceived bias for a moment where they can at least learn about something that's important like gun safety.
I see it as it's not a PR problem. It's a social media problem driven by the big 3 or 4 media companies that are just so negative about guns and the Brady, the and all the other anti-gun people that they quote every time anything happens. It's oh yeah, we got to get rid of that. We got to, no, this is part of our heritage. This is part of the United States. It is the United States. How do you overcome that? That's not PR. That's being brainwashed.
Well, it is PR because they've used public relations to do that. So what we need to do is we need to come out and we need to get everybody to focus not on the first part of the phrase, but on the second part of the phrase, the safety word, because that's the part of our message that's the important part. It's not that's what we need to put forth is, yes, it's about guns, but it's about safety. We're here to help make everybody safe. What we need to do is we need to call out Moms Demand Action and call out Everytown for gun safety and say, look, if you're serious about safety, here you go.
And the problem with them though is they've kind of hijacked gun safety, like the Be Smart program.
They're not interested in safety in any way, shape, or form.
Their idea, like in their program specifically, it says for your family to be safe, you should get rid of your guns. That's not gun safety.
No.
That's just backdoor gun control. And so, we have to call for what it is. We have to invest in good gun safety and good programs that are out there on the front lines doing the work, and we all have different lanes, but we're all focused towards the same ending point, I guess.
Yep. And that's where we need to get into the public forum in a nice way. And we need to say, hey, we're offering out these programs here. And this is what we're, and that's what Derek's program is all about is teaching kids safety and, and the parents at the same time.
And it's free. The work that we do is free. And we've modeled it similar to water safety because we teach every kid in this country how to swim because we don't want them to drown. That's the same principle for gun safety. It's for every kid, whether you have guns or don't have kids or guns, so
Exactly.
Because they're going to go somewhere there's guns.
Mm-hmm. I've heard
Whether
horror
they realize
stories.
it or
I could write a book on all the horror stories I've heard of. One was a guy from Russia that found a gun in the front yard area and put it on top of his garbage can as he went to work. So this revolver was just sitting there at eye level as he pulled away. It's just experiences like that where couch cushions. Horrible things. So it happens.
They found them by our elementary schools in our town. So,
well, I think this program will be great. And, as someone who does not have children, I still recognize that even I have a part with gun safety. I have nieces, nephews, godchildren, friends, people by association. I can sit back and watch and let things just happen, or I can also be the responsible, safe person and probably suffer the consequences later if a parent is like, don't tell my child what to do. But I think collectively, we need to be responsible for safety as well. Like even if I'm at trade shows and I go to them a lot and there may be demo guns or demo any type of weapon and you have these little toddlers that want to run up and see and touch everything. And the parents are just standing there not doing anything because they don't think that, oh, it's just a demo. and kids are grabbing for stuff, and me probably overstepping my lane, I'll tell them, like, not get excited and be like, no, 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 no. It's like, hey, you shouldn't touch it. That's not safe. You should ask, or don't take anything out of my hand. Let me hand it to you. And you just talk to them and go through the things. And kids listen. If they're really interested, they'll follow directions, especially if it's not coming from their parents most times. If they don't know you and know your limits, they'll pay attention. So I think this sounds like a great program.
Well, safety, discipline, and respect. I mean, our
Mhm.
kids from a young age, we teach them to follow rules. And so if we give them order, that helps us hold them accountable as parents, but also gives them direction to make sure that they're staying on that straight and narrow. And, it's just, it's a process, and a lot of it is we just have to overcome that fear. Is, my guns will never hurt somebody because my guns are used appropriately. And we just
Mhm.
have to make sure that everybody's on that same page, and I know, it just depends on where we're at in the country. Like in the urban environments, guns are different and people use guns differently there. And I get it, but I would love to see some changes where actually some things that would actually work instead of making more laws. We don't
Yeah.
need another law, especially if we can't even enforce it right now, so.
Yeah, I've had
Yeah, and
plenty of guns cleaned
Yeah.
just by children wanting to learn how to use a firearm with parents' permission. It's like, okay, I'll take you shooting, but you'll need to learn how to take it apart, clean it, and then after we go to the range, clean it again. I miss those days because they're adults now, but if you just get them involved, and it just makes them respect them more.
Mhm.
They're not being told no, so they're not sneaking. They know if they ask for it, they'll be able to use it and test it out of curiosity, but in a safe way.
if there's no reason this shouldn't be taught in school, because you teach fire safety, you teach household drug safety. It's got to be put back into our schools. Not necessarily
Stranger
the promoting
danger.
their gun. Yeah,
We
Yep.
teach driver's ed in school. Come on, guys. I mean,
yeah, that's
Yep.
Yeah.
we put them behind a 3,000-pound moving vehicle, and why not teach them about firearms? I mean,
yeah. We don't want to put Derek out of a job, but it's still got to be.
Hey,
It's still
I'd
gotta
be
be
okay
done.
with that if I didn't get tagged every day, or if I didn't get a Google alert every day of that young kid getting hurt. Every day at 8 o'clock, I get a Google alert for a kid that gets hurt somewhere across the country, and
Yep.
I'd be okay if I didn't
I
get
get those
those
same
alerts.
ones.
Yeah, so it's just how we get there, and our mantra, like our mission statement, is zero firearm accidents is the only acceptable goal. And currently it's 1 to 2 per day that we lose across the country. And so we're going to continue to work until we get to zero. And it's getting on platforms like this and sharing the message and sparking that interest with others that, hey, this organization, you could either help volunteer, or we could bring them to our area, or if we can get the industry to invest, we could become volunteers to help do this in our communities, and
Mhm.
it just
Yeah.
we gotta reprioritize the way we spend money in the gun industry. That's all.
Yeah. And it's not like this program is going to take, you know, millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars to
No.
operate. So,
No.
but it will take a lot of volunteers.
Yeah.
That's going to be a thing. So,
And good folks, and good folks that we can trust, that are moral and principled. That's one of my biggest fears growing is like, who are we exposing the kids to? It's
right.
Are we going to get people that should be around kids? And so obviously we're going to have background checks, and everything's going to be completely legit, because we will do everything to protect those kids.
Absolutely. But I mean, it's like, for when I was teaching hunter safety, a lot of the hunter safety instructors were like, we'd love to be able to do this in the schools during the school time. So
it should be.
and it's a matter of getting it back to that.
Mhm.
And maybe that's something, before he gets rid of the Department of Education, maybe that's something he can have the Department of Education mandate.
Could you imagine?
That would be awesome.
Something else that I wondered about, and I think there was one school I looked into it and they didn't. Like, I know there's a couple of schools even in the KC Metro surrounding areas that have trap or
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
sporting clay league.
It's on the come
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, but they don't offer gun safety in those schools. And obviously there are firearms on the school property because how else are they getting to practice or are they doing the competitions? So I
Yeah.
always
They
thought it
don't
was
shoot
kind
on
of
school
quasi
grounds.
weird. They don't,
Uh,
but the firearms are there.
No,
No, the guns are not brought into schools. The guns
No,
are
I'm not meaning not in the schools directly, but they're around.
the program is run through the schools.
usually it's a club level, not
Yeah.
an actual. Most of the shooting, there are a lot of schools where it is actually a regular sport like, football and basketball and soccer, but a lot of your schools, it's a club sport. Whereas it's not actually, it's school allowed, but not school funded. Does that make sense?
All right.
No, I get it, but I'm just saying, since the awareness is right there in your face, I mean, that's
but
an opportunity to have.
They don't want to. The school doesn't. They're like, okay, you can recruit, but that's it. You don't have. It doesn't take place on school grounds. You're responsible for doing all your safety and everything with all your kids that are directly involved in the program, and that's that. Nothing else comes onto the school property. So that's their. They're not actually involved in it, so they don't want anything to do with it. That's what they're doing.
No, I have a question here that, it's been quite a number of years now that we've had concealed carry. And I don't know what the percentage that actually do carry, but I have. And I do. And when I first started, my kids asked me why. And I said, because I need to protect you and myself. When we learn to do, when we learn to carry, aren't we being taught, to teach our kids at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, that's something I recommend is when you're carrying a gun concealed, that gun's in their face. It's eye level, so it's important that you explain to them why you have that. It's a tool. It's something that it's used to keep everyone safe and normalize, having a firearm on you in part of your daily routine. There's all the data in the world out there that says that people that are armed in public are a benefit to society, and most of our concealed carriers are the most law-abiding parts of our society, and there's been studies that have been done on that, and so the numbers don't lie.
Yeah, I mean, Colonel Cooper, told us that an armed society was a polite society. And I think that goes along towards it. I mean, I have no reason to not be polite to somebody. I'm not gonna, brag or show off or start a fight because I carry a gun. Why? That puts me in a bad light.
Sharenda, going back to your comment about the several trap schools having trap teams, I do know one school in Missouri that does have trap range on school property. Nick, you know which one I'm talking about? Over by Mexico, Missouri. There's
right outside Mexico, Missouri. It's literally right out the back of the school. They have
that doesn't
4
count.
6 stations. It's
That
still
doesn't
Missouri.
count. I'm saying that doesn't count. They have their own little
Well, but like my
understanding down
cousin,
there.
she goes to school here in Kansas, goes to a private Catholic high school, and they shoot trap all the time. And the school, I've even asked them, the school sponsors it.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Like when I'm in the Midwest, when I'm in the Midwest, I'm like, I'm living completely wrong living in Oregon. Like my cities are burning. Like I go to the Midwest, like everything's clean. It's like, wow, this is wild.
These parts of the Midwest.
Parts,
Yeah,
I guess, parts.
yeah.
The parts that I saw, I guess. So
No, if you flew into Chicago, you know better.
is that where you're from? In Chicago?
Nearby, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. So-
Jason Green said maybe TV commercials could help get the kids and their parents' attention to the program. That goes back to funding. So I noticed you do have a patron link.
Yeah.
For donations. So
yeah,
if
so
anybody
we
wants to
we have
donate.
donate. We have Patreon, which and we're on Substack as well. So there's
Okay.
we have a blog that we put out and weekly. So it's all about putting out content, as you guys know. And hopefully it leads people back to the message and we get more people involved and start talking about it. It's like we just want to normalize this conversation. There's nothing wrong with having a gun. It's nothing wrong with knowing how to shoot. It's something that we have a rich story tradition. I wrote a blog post yesterday about the founding of the Second Amendment and also the Militia Act of 1792. So we can predate all of our gun ownership back to that time period. And so we should be celebrating that fact.
Yes, definitely.
But yeah, the thing that we need to realize is it's not like it used to be, and it's not going to be unless we all help get. Good night, Jim. Help get kids and parents involved, and it's going to be a case of we probably are going to have to get the parents through the kids. Okay. But we can't be combative. We can't be abusive. We can't be abrasive. We can't say, well, it's your job to teach your kids. We're going to have to help teach the kids and then have the parents learn at the same time.
In other words, we have to follow the Hillary Clinton rule because it takes a village to raise a child, right? In this situation. No, I mean, if you look at it, we can't.
But see, that's the wrong attitude to have.
But if you look at it, we have a place where parents don't want to teach kids anymore. They don't.
We have a society where parents don't want to be parents; they want to be friends, and it's beyond just this.
Or TikTok stars.
Exactly. Hold my kid so I can shoot a TikTok.
Yeah, it's.
But we have to be careful in all facets when we're presenting stuff like this. We don't say things like, well, we have to follow, we have to, be like Hillary and, that type of thing. I understand your point, but what I'm saying is we can't use that in the, you can't come across like that because immediately you're going to shut down half your audience.
Well, that's the first thing with a school board. You go before a school board and you talk about it. And, in my area, I talked to a school board when my granddaughter was in school. And it was like, hey, shut that down. No,
Don't start with a school board. Pick a school. Do an after school program.
Yeah. Well, and so like the legislation that I wrote would authorize law enforcement or instructors to go into the school to be like a half-hour class once every semester or once per trimester, depending on how the school was set up. But this was a way to get law enforcement back in the schools, like our school resource officers to be able to teach the class. That way we don't have, activist teachers, trying to corrupt the message, so, and it was a way to build back the community, and build that trust back, and so, that's an option, I guess.
I mean, you're not going to be able to get in front of all these school boards and say, hey, we need to do this, this, and this. It's not going to happen. You have to start with one volunteer class here as an after school project or something like that to get your foot in. And once you show, then you develop more interest and more interest and more interest, unless you get like what we've got here in Sun Prairie, where we now have the superintendent on board and we have the school, or we have the city council on board, where they're they're going to be active about gun safety and not just oh, don't have them. Not that type of gun safety, but legit gun safety is what they're involved in and what they're interested in hearing
Yeah.
about and teaching the kids. So
Well, I question a lot of that because a lot of the ones that I see and hear from are saying, lock that up, put that away, guns separate from the ammunition, and don't tell the kids.
well, see, that's the wrong part. And see, that's where you need to come in and you need to help educate. There's nothing wrong with locking up firearms, okay? There's nothing wrong with locking up firearms. And for those people who say, well, if I can't get at it, okay, first off, there's rapid release safes if you need it. But
Mhm.
honestly, if it's that big of a concern where you think you need it, it should be on you in the first place. Okay? So if you want to sit here and you want to say to me, well, I can't have it locked up because I need it, then it should be on you, even when you're freaking home. That's my argument to that. The people say that they shouldn't be locked up. If you think that you need it that bad, now there's all these states that have all these locked up laws and stuff. Fine. Okay. I'm not getting into that. I'm saying locked up versus non-locked up, because you get all the people that say, well, I can't have it locked up because I need easy access. Well, the easiest access is a freaking holster on your body. Where you've trained to use it, you've trained to draw and point and use it. Okay, that's the easiest. I'm not cranky. I'm sick, so that I sound cranky. All right, I want to clarify
Is that what we're calling it? Sick?
Don't make me pull that picture out. I will pull that picture out, Sharenda.
Which picture?
From this morning.
Oh, go ahead and pull that one out. That's a good one. So something else I want to add to this conversation is that usually when we have these type of discussions and we're talking about gun safety, we're talking about it on a massive scale, which is the ultimate goal for that. But we also need to keep in mind that we need to start in micro levels too. So,
absolutely.
I mean, for example, we're talking about firearm safety, getting people more involved, gun sports, shooting sports, especially with hunting. Conservations, the employees, they're 8 to 5. People that live in the city, and I'm not talking about just urban or just cities in general. If you have kids and they're involved in sports, I don't care if you're a 2-parent or 1-parent home, those kids' sports schedules are like having a whole nother job. So we need to be convenient for them. So instead of having a family try to schedule in driving 45 minutes or 50 miles away to do some of these programs and events, we need to start at a smaller scale and think about, well, what can we do? Pretty much what Derek is doing. He can only get to so many places in a certain time frame. Well, if you're in some of those areas where you think that it needs to happen and you have the resources or the time, volunteer your time and help. Get registered, get certified. Don't just keep doing the chatter and talking the bullshit, because I see a lot of that on social media. What are you doing to be a resolution to the problem?
Absolutely. And that's, I'm a man of action, and I try to run the organization that way. It's like, we're going to do something. And so no matter what it takes, and then we're going to keep moving forward. And I'm hoping that we can attract others that, feel that same way and want to get off the sidelines and quit talking about it on social media and actually put in the work, and it's a tremendous amount of work, as you know. But it's something that if it wasn't worth it, we wouldn't be doing it, So that's where I'm at.
I got a thought here. Could we use, I'm going to call them the enemy, to help us in gun safety? And I'm going to use Moms Demand Action as an example. Their whole mission is to stop gun violence and make stronger laws. Okay, that's the thing. If they're really wanting to do that, would they want to promote gun safety for children on the as early as they can?
Well, I like where you're going. So in the beginning, in our development, that's how I learned like my messaging is I would go to their meetings and I would listen to them and listen to their fears, and I would re-educate them with, like, they'd be talking about assault rifles, I'd be talking about the AR-15, they'd be talking about silencers, I'd be talking about suppressors. And but it was in those meetings I was able to figure out, what truly scares them, so I could design a message that would resonate with them and their families, and that was kind of the thought process. Is they have really good infrastructure, they're very well funded, they have good networks. The problem is currently right now what we're dealing with in the country with, like, they're desperate, and I get like emails every day from them with this new, I have to donate to this, because of this, and I feel that, the jig is up, especially with Doge, and all of that funding is starting to be exposed. And so they're getting a little nervous, and, hopefully that'll help correct the market, and then it'll give us an opportunity, equal playing field, especially with, hopefully Meta does something about censorship and actually starts, allowing us to broadcast, gun safety on Facebook and Instagram. YouTube is, I think, going to be always going to be a challenge, because they don't want that kind of information getting out. So that's going to be another challenge for us. But I have hope about what's happening in this administration.
I agree. I agree.
Hopefully, he does more for us than he did last term.
Well, he's done a lot in the first 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's done more in the first 3 weeks than he did.
I'm talking on the 2A level.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So
I was lukewarm with Pam Bondi, but time will tell. Time will tell. I'll
Right.
give her a chance until she burns me.
exactly.
Yeah.
Silence.
Sorry, I was trying to keep from coughing. So
I'm catching up on the comments, making sure we didn't miss a question from anybody.
no. So what's next? Just continuing to try and expand out.
What's next is, obviously securing the funding that we need to, expand and grow. And, we had a good SHOT Show, and I met Ray and Nick there. Had some great conversations with them, and every day I get to do this, I'm thankful, right? Because I get to meet great people like yourselves. I get to have great conversations about guns. And it's something that I always love talking about guns, because it's something that's been part of my life, and my dad gave me my first BB gun at 3 years old. I shot the barrel out by the time I was 6. He gave me a shotgun at 5, and I used those 2 shotguns that he gave me at 5 years old. I use them in every kids firearm safety 1 class that we teach locally, as a way to remember my father, but also tell funny stories about why we're safe at all times, but it's just, it helps put people at ease, because sometimes they'll come to a class because they're afraid of guns, but they know that gun safety is important. And just being able to connect with the audience in a way that they know that they're okay, that they're glad that they came and spent that hour with us, I think is really, really important. And I always look at it as it's like they're paying their insurance, right? We pay our insurance every month because we don't want to have a claim, or hope we don't have a claim. And that's what gun safety is for your kids. It's just like paying your insurance.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I agree there. So how do we get your organization bigger?
Well, just an investment, really. I mean, we have the protocols in place, we have the infrastructure, we have the curriculum. It's just, we have to have like the legal stuff to be able to go across the country and grow in all these different, and that way we can attract, good, good partners, people that we can trust that can, obviously the biggest thing is just keeping the message pure, obviously, because we all have our different opinions on our two-way rights. But when it comes to the message that we're trying to present as an organization, it's very apolitical. Like we're a pro-gun organization, but we're presenting the message from a pro-safety standpoint. That way, we're able to kind of get into places that most organizations wouldn't be able to do so. And so it's just being able to attract people with that similar mindset.
So the gun industry, how do they accept you? Are they funding you?
We have some good sponsors. Obviously 2024 was really tough. We're hoping to have a really good 2025, and we're, obviously that's why we went to SHOT. I met with Glock and started a conversation with them. Met Catherine with Glock. What an amazing woman. And I've never been more proud to carry a Glock every day to protect myself than after just having a conversation with her. What a great steward of the gun industry, and I'm careful with who I approach. I don't want to have like the Terran Tacticals. I don't, obviously he's a great shooter, but it's the stuff behind the scene that I don't really want to be affiliated with. So I'm very kind of careful with who I approach, because I don't want that to reflect on us as an organization, so it's kind of a challenge. A lot of times in the gun industry, they like to invest in the sparkly things like the grand thumbs, and we all know what's happening there. And I feel that, that's not necessarily a good investment because of some stuff in his personal life. And I feel that us, we would be a safer bet, because we're an investment in the future of the gun industry.
Well, you got me until you got to the staple gun carrying part. I don't know about that.
The staple gun?
Yeah. That's
what do you mean?
We have a snob in the house.
Oh no! Tell me it's a 1911, please. Tell me. Is it or a wheel gun?
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
No, 1911. Yeah.
Oh, is it condition one?
Or a SIG P239, which is an oldie.
Oh, so that'd be a single action as well, right?
It's a double action stainless steel.
Okay.
It's a small one. It's only an 8-round gun. So.
Okay. Oh, because you're in Illinois.
Well, I don't care about Illinois. I just if I could carry it concealed, I'd carry 2011. Okay, with 21 rounds. But
staple gun. I hadn't heard that in a while. I was like, what are you talking about, staple guns?
Yeah. I'm just trying to lighten up here a little bit. But
yeah.
So I understand you're trying to pick the companies to deal with in that, but just the celebrities I question sometimes. We're not celebrities here. We're just everyday guys, and girls that.
I'm fine with guys.
Yeah. But we're trying to understand the difficulty of politics for us is that we're very set in our ways as far as what we believe in the Constitution, the civics that is not taught anymore, and the lack of our country's understanding in things that are going that this country was built on. So,
Derek, I have an extra question for you too. And Paul,
okay.
Paul, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Me trying to look on your website is causing some horrible buffering with my cheap ass computer. But just out of curiosity, do you ever offer an online version of your program? Because I know a lot of people are busy and Zoom has become the go-to.
We do that. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And that's what we're doing for, Arkansas and those, that way we can still offer, gun safety across the the World Wide Web, so technology's really helped out with that. So we have actually have that listed. So typically those are, a family sends us an email and then we just schedule it and we just bust it out, and then the way we look at it is like every kid is the most valuable kid that we always reach, right? So like I love what you said earlier about the micro, like on a micro level, right? So even if it's only one kid, it's a one kid that we had that conversation. That's one kid that we're not going to have to worry about reading about in the newspaper or seeing on social media that had an accident. So that's why we'll always, make time to make sure that all these kids are educated properly.
Okay. I think I got 2 organizations that I'm going to send them your info because they predominantly are online. So this would help out a lot.
Yeah.
Even doing it as a special Zoom meeting for our wilderness audience
Yeah,
would be a
for
good
sure.
reach out for you as well. So I would
Yeah.
definitely love to get that going.
For sure. And then we can set it up on Zoom, and I think we can have 50 people at a time on our Zoom account, and just talk about guns and gun safety and online safety and video like you'd be surprised how many kids are learning are being approached by bad people through video games or social media. So there's an appropriate way for our kids to be communicated with or communicate with the outside world too that we cover. So anti-bullying is another really important topic, because one thing we're talking about is our kids are going to hear something before anybody else. Like if there's a tragedy at school, typically there's going to be a sign. It's going to be on the bus, it's going to be in the hallway, it's going to be on the playground. There's always going to be a sign that there's a kid that's struggling, that's saying something they shouldn't say because they don't know how to deal with their emotions. And so that's where the kids are hearing something they should be, talking to somebody, get somebody involved.
I don't remember the exact number, but I actually was on our school security council for a while and sat through a Secret Service breakdown of Columbine. And there was high double-digit signs before that happened that were just ignored. So it's important to pay attention for those signs and take them all seriously. Unfortunately, we still don't.
Yeah.
26, 27 years later.
Yeah. And we are talking about, and it's kind of difficult because we have parents in the class, and in the class we also have the kids, and we are talking about ballistic panels and backpacks, and there's we have a teen program that's getting ready where it's talking about empowerment, situational awareness, teen suicide, which is a huge thing that we're talking about. And so we're putting the finishing touches on that, and that'll be another thing that we'll be able to offer to make sure that our teens are safe. But the ballistic panels, it's just another insurance. You have something with you that you can put on that can help keep you safe,
I question that kind of insurance.
Well, what's a hope and a prayer? I mean, what's your head in the sand? Like where I'm from in Oregon, they're actually trying to ban concealed carry on school grounds. They're also trying to take school resource officers out of the schools. So, I mean, at that point, what's left?
Well, in Chicago and Illinois, there is no carrying a gun in the school other than by a resource officer. But we haven't gotten to that point where they're trying to take out a police service officer in school. I'm the one that would like to see, the officer or a member of the school, a teacher or a principal, vice principal, or whatever, have an AR-15 in a locker for him, and to be able to if something happened at the front door of the school and whatever, that if the officer couldn't get there in time, that there was some way to stop somebody from coming in that way. The backpack ballistic panels and that, I just worry that there's too many companies out there that don't make a certified ballistic panel that is going to protect a child. A lot of them are not. A lot of kids are not big boned or or frail, and at a young age, and to put a 4-pound ballistic panel that's going to work. I don't know.
Well, I mean, obviously everything's age appropriate, right? Like we don't expect kindergartners to have ballistic panels, but like if we look at the data would support that most kids, teens are going to be more susceptible to something like that happening at school. And so it might be a good option for parents to maybe think about that. I mean, obviously we're not advocating, we're not telling that they have to do that. We're just offering suggestions that maybe that they can incorporate to help keep their kids safer.
I just wonder, I mean, I look at it, a plate carrier that I have weighs, almost 28 pounds without anything on it. You divide that in half, you're talking 14 pounds you're going to stick in the back of a kid's backpack.
Yeah, it depends on the technology. I mean, I have one that weighs like a pound and a half, like the ones that I have in my pack. I mean, obviously they're rated for handguns, but I always have one in a pack whenever I go and whenever I travel. Like when I go to Chicago, I make sure I have one and I put it on and
Yeah. Okay. No, I can understand that.
Yeah.
So
It's all steps, and
Yeah.
the technology they're using in the backpacks is different from what you're talking about with your plate carriers and stuff. So there's some companies that are actually taking existing backpacks that are out there, and so the backpacks literally don't look any different. So but then there's but they're designed to use with ceramic plates, not steel. So that's
ceramic. Ceramic is the one that weighs everything. The lightweight ones are the the plastic ones, the plastic plates that are thick, lightweight.
Yeah.
And
well, the ceramic are lighter than steel. So.
Oh yeah.
So, but and I haven't looked into it in a couple of years because my kids have been out of school, but and I know the technology has come a long way since then. So, but yeah, when they first started out, they were literally using existing backpacks and so everything looked normal. It wasn't a case of anything different. So not like the kids stuck out and stuff. And it's one of those circumstances where it's an offering because it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
And that's the point of it. It's not a oh my God, you're going to save everybody in the world. And unfortunately, some people are thinking it is, but even the companies are marketing it that it's not.
Yeah.
Because it's only covering the small part, vital area. So, but it's something.
I think if we do things to prepare our kids and talk about and prepare them mentally for different things, I think is a good thing. So yeah, thanks for the link. I'll check that one out. A lot of it's just strong kids. We need strong kids because strong kids will become strong leaders. And it starts at home. It starts with us all trying to do our part to influence the kids in our lives,
Agreed. The best teacher for a child is their parents, and we just have to get them to either to endorse a program like yours or to teach them, one of the two. And I'd rather see them have a program like yours to go off of than what I had to do is remember what my father told me and what I was taught.
Yeah, I remember those. Like, I'm just thinking now as we're talking about like my father and what he did for me when I was a kid, and like those are memories that I want to see passed down. I think that's what kind of motivates me and drives me going forward is I want every kid to be able to experience what I experienced when I was a child because of the way I was raised, and that's like why I brought up the whole reloading, the hunting, like so many kids are not even getting involved in hunting,
Yes.
so we have to get the, like, it's all as a collective, like we're talking about earlier, the collective is we all have a choice that we can get involved and we can share these passions and this knowledge and pass that along to make sure that, these things don't go away, because, like I said before, I'm not getting any younger. I know none of us are, isn't there a quote, we'll never get off this planet alive or something like that,
Mhm.
Nobody gets
No,
out
yeah.
alive.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hunting's a total different story because trying to find a place to hunt anymore,
Yeah.
it's tough.
I have a lot of people like in Oregon that like, why aren't you doing hunter safety? And it's like, I don't want the bureaucracy. Like, I
No.
can go do what I want to do, and I don't have to deal with the DNR or a red tape or anything like that. So, as much as I've had people that want me to do the hunter safety stuff, it's so much more free for me to be able to just do what we do right now. And I probably have a greater impact that way too. So
Definitely. Hunter safety was great to teach basic safety, with a few odd quirks here and there about Damascus barrels and a few other things that went on. But no, I think
The other problem
gun
is
safe. Good.
well, the other problem is when you mention hunters' safety, it automatically turns a bunch of people off because they don't want to hunt; they want to shoot. And so when you're talking hunter safety, that automatically tunes out a lot of people, and they're missing out on it because it's hunter safety. They don't want to learn how to gut a deer. They don't want to learn how to put up a tree stand. They don't want to learn this. They don't want to learn that. They want to learn about how to safely operate a firearm. So that's why it's gun safety, and that's why that's important.
Good point.
Yeah.
You okay, Mike?
Having a cough attack.
Yeah, one of the things I wasn't too thrilled about with hunter safety is I like that they have the online portion, but they also have the option for you to do the skill session online. That I'm not so sure about. I could see if you're an adult, maybe been in the military and have some knowledge of firearms, but if you don't and you're approaching it from a very fresh and new perspective, I really think it's important to have that hands-on skill session for firearm safety.
Yeah, and they did that here in Oregon. And so there's a lot of people that'll do it online, but it's how much are the kids taking in when they're doing it online, and then they test out with the field day. So I don't know how effective that is. And it's like, do the kids have the full attention of what they're learning online? So it's definitely a challenge.
Yeah, because even with the few classes that I've attended and the ones that I've helped with, you can see the light click on the kids' faces when you're having them change direction and you ask them where is your muzzle pointing at now.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get that online.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, we can look at the IKEA is putting something together, an online demo or video, just to put a simple desk together, and we have people that can't do it. So following a video is, I think, is wrong. I think it has to be a hands-on class,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
where you know, a demonstration of what's right, what's wrong. Even if you have to have a dummy gun or some dummy guns in there, that you know, because of rules or whatever, at least they get the idea of what it would take, what it takes to load, unload, how to make safe. You know, if you don't know the gun, you know, don't touch it. Tell somebody. But yeah, it's hard for a kid to not pick one up.
Yeah. Well, it's because they're cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I haven't found a gun that I wouldn't like to shoot. You know.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I got a couple I wouldn't want to shoot.
Maybe a 1911. I don't know.
Ah,
Because I want one that's reliable. Sorry, I had to do it. I had to do it.
I know. That's okay.
I don't want to shoot a Jennings or a Braco or a Phoenix Arms.
What about a High Point? Yeet cannon.
There's one in the safe behind me.
Is there? How's it shoot?
Yep. Not bad.
Would I use that as a everyday carry defense gun? No, but one that you know just to have for about $50, sure.
Well, what are they? They're what, $200?
Where are you finding
Yeah.
a High Point for $50? Let me know.
Yeah.
I want one.
Somebody that bought one and some elitist told them it was garbage, and so now they want to get rid of it, and so then they just start selling it for nothing just to get rid of it, just because.
I'll
Well,
give
buy it.
$50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give 'em
I would too if I run across another one of those. I call those. Oh, they've been brainwashed sales.
I'll tell you what, the YC9, the second gen, it's actually pretty nice.
They work. Okay. They
Well,
work.
So the problem with High Points is people, if there's an issue with it, they just bitch about it. They don't send it in to get it fixed.
Yeah, but 99% of the time, a High Point is going to work.
Yep. And if
Yeah,
not,
not in
well,
my
you
hands.
just you beat them with it.
Not in my
Right.
hands.
Which one? You looking at that one or this one?
It didn't work in either one.
Ah!
They didn't work in either. Ask Mike at GunCon. The one did not want to run for me at all. All the High Points I shot did not want to run in my hands.
Yep. That's because
I don't know what it is. I do
And
not
then-
limp wrist. You
and
can ask
here's
my
my
dad
thought.
about having a range day at the EAA booth. There's no limp wristing going on.
I don't
And
know.
here's my thoughts about the High Point coming from a realistic perspective. If that's all you can afford to have some protection, just get it. And then when you
Yeah.
can afford to get one that you really want, just have two.
Yeah.
A
I
High
had-
Point and the one you really want.
You don't lose money. They hold their value. They're investments.
Yes.
I think we had that discussion one of my concealed carry classes, and they said the gun you're carrying is better than the one you left at home.
That's
Yep.
right.
Yep.
Well, it's like this is a hot topic. I'd rather carry a High Point than a Sky. Those
Amen.
Skies are those
That's-
Skies are
Mm.
terrible.
That's a good call.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
grip
it's-
is really
Yeah.
horrible.
Oh, it's terrible. And, then
And
the
trying to
other
take it
part
apart
you're-
to clean it.
Oh gosh. I can't tell how many guys I worked at a gun store for almost 10 years. I can't tell how many Skies I sold, and I tried to talk every single person out of them. Because we
It's
can't
just the
sell
price
High
point.
Points. Yeah. Oh yeah. We can't sell High Points in Illinois. You never could. Well, when I was
Really?
working at least. It was
I'm
a
happy to hear
melting
about
point.
this story.
Yeah, you still can't. So the melting point's too low on the polymer. So they
Right.
passed some law that they cannot sell high points or anything that's made out of whatever type plastic that is in
The
Illinois.
plastic,
So
the
It's not
plastic
the plastic,
and the
it's the
slide.
slide valve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So,
Is that about
yeah.
destroying evidence and all that?
Yeah, it was. I think
Yeah.
there was a homicide up in the Chicago area that they found out was a high point or something, and so we're gonna take that gun away from being sold. I don't know.
That sounds like an infringement.
It's Illinois, first of all. So
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
your first mistake.
even though the FOIA card just got called
Yeah, I just gonna
I
say
unconstitutional,
that.
saw that. That was really great.
It got unconstitutional in that case.
yeah.
In that case.
But didn't they have two
Okay.
big 2A wins in the last
This
week?
is two of them, yeah. But it's also been two that the FOID card is not
Yeah.
valid. But the one went all the way to the Supreme Court, Illinois Supreme Court, and was ruled unconstitutional. But it's in the home. Okay, that means that it has to be in the home.
Mhm.
And it's only involved with this case. So we still
Well, they
have a
obviously-
long way to go.
They obviously
yeah.
don't know about the Bruin decision.
Well,
they do,
DC
they just
versus
don't give
Heller.
they know about the Bruin decision. They sat down and passed PICA, which is their assault weapon everything ban, and and they only got about 3,000 or 4,000 people to register their ARs. So other than
That's better than Connecticut.
With
yeah,
every county besides 2 sheriffs saying we're not enforcing it or something like that.
yeah,
Let me guess, Lake and Cook.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was those
How
two.
did I know
one
that?
other. Maybe Champaign was in there as well. I don't remember.
yeah. Well, all I know is they sat down and they passed this law as an insurance law.
Yeah.
Okay.
Within
So-
24 hours. Yeah, that was the
Right.
other thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what forced
and-
me to move. I was like, I'm done. See ya.
Yeah. And it's just they said if it goes before the Supreme Court, they're going to rule our way because we're right. That's how the Illinois politicians look at it. Our governor, what's his name? Big round guy, about as tall as he is wide. Yeah, he who's a billionaire.
Oh, JD Pritzker.
Pritzker.
He'll
Yeah,
be like every other Illinois governor. They'll find a way.
Yeah.
He'll be in jail here in a matter of 10 years. So
Right.
just give it time.
That is true.
the Illinois, the only
What is
state where
repentant though?
Illinois is the only state you know where your governor made your license plate.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, so yeah, we have a history of having some great governors that are really good at making license plate.
I see light at the end of my tunnel. Is all I can say.
I know you got a new house being built soon, and you're going to be moving to a free state with they have a constitutional carry, and you'll be all set. So
That's like I've been over here 2 years. I still haven't done my concealed carry because with constitutional, I don't see the need at the moment. But like when Dad gets moved over here, we'll probably go take the state concealed carry class together just so we have the concealed carry license.
the ability to cross borders.
That's the biggest thing. Yeah, that'll be the
Yeah.
plus.
That'll be so sweet. You guys take it together.
Mhm.
We took it before together.
Yeah, because he was in the first batch for Illinois when it was first passed, and his was it 4 years is what they were good for? I think 2, 4, I don't remember.
I don't remember.
But his
3.
his renewal was the exact same time I turned 21, so we were in the same class together. Actually, I was like 19 or 20 and a half.
Yeah, you could take it and be under. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was fortunate. It was a family member that taught the course. So, but yeah.
So you had to take the whole 16 hours.
Yes. Well, no,
Yeah.
I technically could have had the 4 hours off with the hunter safety, but I might as well sit through the whole 16. That first 4 hours. Ooh, this is a gun. this is how it works. Yeah,
Yeah, I only had 8.
understandable. Yep.
Yeah. But because I had to miss, all I had to do was sit through the part where you,
On the law
the
portion.
law,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
which is boring.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Well, then like the person that taught our course, former FBI, what was he, Homeland Security, I think, as well. Did a lot of hand-on-hand courses. He used me as a test dummy because knew me from a young age, so he would throw me around, stuff like that. And so I was the test dummy in the class.
You know what I had to do? I had to go down and get my fingerprints taken and mail those in, along with filling out my online application and submit my hunter safety card and pay $50.
Wow. I hear it's pretty
Well,
easy.
I
here
would
in
have did
Kansas,
all that to
too.
pay $50 because mine was what, 125.
As I tell most Illinoisans when they
You
move
can
up
fit-
here and they come to visit me to buy their first gun, and they start asking, "Oh, do I need this? No? Welcome to freedom."
Mhm.
Like I still carry my FOID card. I think it's still in my wallet.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, it's still. I carry just to show people what one looks like. It's
You know, but
mine,
I would
4 years expired.
I was shocked how people struggled in the qualification.
Oh, it's terrible.
So
People couldn't have the broad set of bar.
I absolutely personally feel that there should be training,
Yeah,
that you need to have training for concealed carry, but it's not mandatory. The state should not require you to get training to be able to carry a firearm. Period.
Like I
You should
was
be able
going
to
to get
carry
the
a firearm
approval if I
because
couldn't hit
you're-
this.
So, but yeah, safety is absolutely mandatory, but that's something that you should be doing all by yourself. And one
So-
class is not enough. So,
No, you have to keep learning. You have to keep going to classes that aren't just the law type classes. You have to go where they teach you situations where how to shoot,
and you know,
how to react.
situations
Get off
where,
the-
okay,
get-
is that a good shoot or not?
Is get off the X first? That's a very good course to take.
The best training you can get, though, is the training that teaches you to stay out of situations where you might need your gun in the first place.
Yep.
Mhm. Mm-hmm.
Yep. I constantly have to remind people that when we're out and they're like, "Oh, well, we know you might be carrying," and I go, "Just because I'm carrying does not mean I'm going to be your savior or protector."
Nope.
It's a
Information.
moral. It's morals. No, everybody is subject to their own morals.
Mm-hmm.
I have some
You want to
lines
be,
with
you want to be
mine.
stupid, and I am not your savior to be
Yes.
protecting you from your own stupidity. So,
Yes.
it's in Illinois. They teach it's for yourself and your family members. If you're out with
Right.
friends, you're only not there to protect them.
Mm-mm.
Yep.
Not at all.
there are states where literally you do not, if you defend somebody other than your family, you actually are not.
Illinois,
Yeah, besides
Illinois.
Illinois.
yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, there's other states
I
out
mean,
there.
in New York, same way. It's
Well, New York's
There's no-
also duty to retreat. So,
yeah. There's no castle doctrine in New York.
Yeah.
If you can get out the 6th floor window, and go down the fire escape, you have to do
and
that.
even if they shoot it, even if they're shooting at you, you could
Mhm.
escape. So, anyway.
Yeah, just like you said,
But-
Paul. If you're in the back of, like, say, the grocery store and you hear shots coming from the front, your first job, technically by Illinois law, is to get out of the store.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. No, but going back to the qualification, I was the only one to shoot the qualification course was in 1911. So,
Did it jam?
nope. Nope.
man, my World War II one I've never had an issue with, and it's from 1944.
They don't. Good 1911s don't jam.
That's true. It's the cheap knockoff ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Or Kimbers.
Or Kimbers, yeah. Or they blow up in your hands.
No.
That's why you don't buy a Kimber.
A good,
Oh, but
a
Kimber
good,
says you have to break in their firearms.
yeah, I know. 250 rounds. Okay. Yeah.
Funny, you don't have to break in Colts or Nighthawks or.
Well, I'm going to say that, the
Hell,
early
you don't even have to
80s,
break in Rock Islands.
in the early 80s, Colt made a few 1911s that were kind of inky as far as their barrel bushings.
Well, yeah.
So, there are a few things that need to be, worked on a Colt. And then they switched over to the drop safety, which is, the full size, full 80s model. And that was,
Mhm.
forget that. I don't want that extra little pin in there that I got to push up with the disconnector to be able to
Mhm.
fire the gun.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Anyway. So, anything else you want to share, Derek?
I think we covered quite a bit of it, and I appreciate the opportunity. It was good talking
I
to you
know
guys.
you're on Instagram.
Yeah, so we're on Instagram. You can find us on YouTube, our Facebook page, Kids Safe Foundation. You can also find us on our website, kidssafefoundation.org. There's 2 S's there. You can follow along, and
I posted
Hey.
the link in our chat, and I'll post it again
Awesome.
here quick.
thank you. Yeah,
But I'll also put it. It's also in our show notes.
awesome.
So-
Let me know, and I'll share it on my end.
Yeah, I'll
So
let you know when it posts. So,
It was good seeing you guys again. Take care, Nick. Take care of that.
It's-
Your hand.
Hey, it's there. It's doing a lot better. I went shooting 2 weeks ago and didn't bother. Of course, it didn't bother me at range day, and so
That's good.
It doesn't really do. It does a really good job. So, which is good.
Good.
So,
It's all that matters.
Yep.
You got patches yet?
no, I talked to a couple companies. Nobody's reached out yet. I think I'm going to start with stickers first. See how those
Okay, 'cause
go, and then
I got a
might,
patch guy if you need it. I got
Yeah,
a patch
shoot me
guy.
that info over just so I have
Yeah.
it. So, if you don't mind.
He's out of Pakistan, but he does good work.
Hey.
Most of them are.
Oh yeah.
So
He needs a Red Bullet Award.
it's all about safety.
Absolutely.
It is. It is. And Nick's our poster boy for it.
and sometimes safety is learned the hard way.
Yep.
Well, that's knock on wood. So
Exactly.
Thank
Yeah.
God it
Knock on wood.
wasn't worse.
Yeah. Glad you're okay.
So, all right, Derek. Well, we'll turn you loose here, and
Okay. Well, thank you guys for everything.
yeah,
Hope
thank
to
you.
see you again. Talk to you again.
Yeah,
And Derek,
and
I'll send you an email tomorrow.
Sounds great.
And
we'll
once
keep
I
in
meet
touch.
with our superintendent and stuff, I will probably get a hold of you too.
And what part of the country are you in?
Wisconsin.
Oh, Wisconsin. Okay, cool.
yeah,
How's the weather?
he's in that liberal part, the Madison there,
No, I'm just
Madison.
outside of it. I am
Okay.
just outside of the 75 square miles of insanity surrounded by reality.
You're exactly. I love your slogan for it. Yep.
I feel that sentiment here in Oregon where I'm at.
Yeah.
So
Well, what they ought to do is they ought to just take the western half of Oregon and the western half of Washington and make it one state, and then take the eastern
Mhm.
half of Oregon and the eastern half
Mhm.
of Washington and make it another state, and it'd be fine.
Well, didn't I hear that Oregon and Washington want to join Idaho?
yes, some
The
of us
eastern
did.
half.
The
Yeah.
problem is I'm on the wrong side of the hill, so I'm stuck
Oh.
with the. Yeah,
You're stuck with
so
the.
might as well live in Illinois.
Ugh.
It's not that bad yet, but
Getting there. They're trying to ban my magazine capacity. So
yeah, I know they're
Yeah.
so.
Well, they've done that here already, so I just, I'm supposed to register all that kind of stuff. Yeah, but most of it's in Indiana anyway, so I'm good.
It's all good.
Yeah.
What's an assault weapon? I don't have an idea. I mean,
I don't have any
Oh,
assault
they
weapons.
are.
I remember an assault weapon when I was in the service. Okay, guys. All right.
There you go.
Those were full auto.
It weighed about 27, 28 pounds. It had a 200 round belt. All right. And it had a cone of fire for about 500 yards of about 36 inches. So it was very effective.
I think my dog has to go potty. So
Sounds like it.
I gotta go.
Thanks, Derek. Looking
Thank you,
forward
guys.
to
Thanks,
chatting with
Derek.
you later.
Have a good
Take
night.
care.
Have a
See you
good night,
later.
Derek.
Thank you.
Get rid of that Glock.
Did you have a rebuttal to it? Nope, he's gone.
So which one of you geniuses invited this guy onto the show? That I actually learned.
was
It
Nick.
was pretty cool talking to him, and I'm looking forward to hopefully we can link up with him and do some stuff here in KC.
Yeah, we
Yeah, it was like
it was
Go ahead,
Tuesday
Nick.
morning. Yeah, it was Tuesday morning. We're sitting down at breakfast at the media room, like normal. You know how that is, Trinda.
Oh man, I
And
missed that
this
media room.
gentleman just Derek just comes and walks up and says, "You free to?" He's like, "Are these seats open?" I'm like, absolutely. And sit down and start talking, and rest is history. So, but yeah, super knowledgeable guy. I'm not going to tell the story that he told us later in the week, but he had a crazy week, and hopefully he had a good week there at Shot though. So
Good.
It's kidssafefoundation.org. So KIDSSAFEFOUNDATION.org. So
Mhm.
check it out.
Yeah, he actually caught me off guard when he said he was interested in working with. I was like, oh, really? That's okay, sure. I would love to.
yeah, it sounds like he's interested to work with about anybody because he just wants to get it out there.
Yeah,
Well,
especially
we have to.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
really,
Mhm.
we have to.
And we're just going to have to reach the parents through the kids. So
yeah.
That's
that's the way it's got
I
to be.
look at, and it's kind of slightly different. Like I look at the collecting of military surplus guns. It's changed dramatically. You look at these kids now that are playing these video games. They know a lot more than most of your adults do that are into some of the collecting. So it's
Oh, I got 18 and 19-year-olds. I've got an 18-year-old. He came in 2 weeks ago. He just turned 18 in November.
mhm.
He's got 4.
Yeah, it's crazy. The knowledge
Because
they're learning from these games.
His first Call of Duty was World War II.
Yeah.
So he said, I want to get every possible gun out of that game I can.
Start saving.
That's what I told him.
get a job and hold on to it because he's gonna
Exactly.
need it.
You're gonna need it with this hobby,
Right?
because each one of those is about $1,000 almost anymore at this point.
Minimum.
Well, not all of them. Like your
Well, I got my
Enfields are still-
1903.
Yeah, 03s are about $1,000. Grands are definitely $1,000. K98s
Yeah,
are
the
about
only
$1,000.
gun I want, the only gun I really want is I want a Garand.
Yeah.
But that I want to go down to Camp Perry and get.
Yeah. If you ever want to go, Mike, I'll drive over. We'll make a road trip out of it.
I got to get the money first. As soon as
Yeah.
I get the money, on.
Either that or come down, and then we'll go to Talladega, and you can shoot when you buy it.
Oh, I like that idea better.
Because Talladega, you buy it there at the Marksmanship
You know,
Park.
okay,
They give you a
Nick,
free hour.
Nick, if we do that, you know what we have to do though?
Try to plan around a race. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you there. So I want to
You
go.
and I cannot go to Talladega, Alabama.
True.
Without going to Talladega.
My dad's
Alabama.
shirt shows it as well. He would definitely be in on that trip as well. He got the Intimidator.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, you make a trip of it. You could stop
last
at Jack Daniels along the way, and
speaking of Jack Daniels, moment of silence. They lost some barrels.
To what?
You didn't hear? Jack Daniels had a barrel shed collapse.
oh, Rick
No.
House.
Partially collapse
Recently, I knew they had one a while
today
back.
or yesterday.
Oh,
Oh,
dang.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
Jack Daniels is going to go up in price.
yeah.
At $15 to a
I
bottle.
haven't been on TV at all.
Yeah, they lost part of a barrel.
Oh, wow.
Warehouse. So
It's a lot of barrels.
Uh-huh.
Which Rick house? I wonder now. Huh.
Well, that sucks.
At least it wasn't single malt scotch.
Listen, you.
Jack's not my favorite,
No,
not by a long shot.
I'm not a big Tennessee whiskey guy.
No. Bourbon? Okay.
I got one for you to try, Paul.
Okay.
Ben Holiday, Bottle and Bond. It's
All right.
it's bottled, distilled, everything here in the KC metro area.
All right.
So been distilling since 1856. Super smooth. It's got a nice hint of caramel, some vanilla. Super good. So 6-year-old. So
A young one. Okay.
yeah, it's not a crazy old, but it tastes.
I
It's
actually
got
got
that
to drink
nice
some
age.
expensive whiskey a few weeks ago.
So, but we got some pretty decent whiskey in the area. Ben Holiday is my favorite out of all the KC stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
We got a distillery up a little north of here, Driftless Glen, that's got some good stuff.
Yep,
So
I've heard of that one. Yep.
I don't know. Currently, I have
Sure.
Jack and Jameson in the selection. I'll always have Jameson. I love sipping Jameson.
Am I correct? Next week's show, we've got Stephen Williford on. Is that next
I
week?
believe so.
Yep.
And I'm gonna send him a reminder email. How soon will you have that link ready so I can forward that to him?
I'll have it day of, unless he
Okay.
needs it sooner than I can create it earlier. I prefer not
Yeah.
creating it earlier, but like today, I did it when I got home from work at 4:30.
That's fine.
So-
Just do something like that. That way I can give him an hour or two heads up.
Yeah. Yeah, I try and give guests a little more. My schedule doesn't always provide that, but
Cool.
yeah, good point, Jason.
Guess I'll Pappy. I'll take a bottle of Pappy.
yeah.
I would definitely take a bottle of Pappy because I won't drink it. I'll sell it on secondary. Well, it depends on what bottle of Pappy. If we're talking Pappy 25, absolutely. Pappy 15, maybe drink it.
I don't know.
You've never even drank that, Nick. You
No,
don't
I've
know.
never had Pat, but I've seen what they go for.
Anyhow.
All right. So, Patriot Patch Company knocked it out of the park with another one. Speaking of patches, did you reach out to Patriot at all?
I need to.
Okay.
You want to give me a contact? I'll reach out, see if we can, because
Yeah.
they might cut us a deal on something, especially being
Yeah. So,
a sponsor.
you get a sticker and Ryan's original drawing, and I'm slacking because I was sick. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And here's the patch. So it says I've
When
got
did you
my
get yours?
sights on you yesterday. Or no, it
Yes?
was in the
Okay.
mailbox when I got the mail Sunday. I finally walked out. I finally was
That's weird.
feeling good enough that I could actually walk out to the mailbox Sunday and grab the mail. So that would have been Thursday, Friday, Saturday's mail, somewhere in there. I got it. So,
Huh. I didn't get that one yet.
well, let me know. So,
I will. 'Cause that one's actually
but yeah,
cute.
so you can head over to firearmsradio.net/category/podcast /reloading-2. And I want to shrink things. And then you can go to support this show, and you can sign up to be a Patch of the Month Club member there, and you can support the show and become a Patch of the Month Club member at the same time. So, and then you can also, from that same firearmsradio.net/category/podcast/reloading-2, click on the buy our merch button. It will take you over to Southern Gals Crafts, where you can buy things like the Reloading Podcast t-shirts you see us wearing frequently, and awesome items like my awesome Reloading Podcast tumbler, as well as can koozies, as well as our lovely Ripping on the ATF t-shirts and sweatshirts that are on there. So also swing over to camerado.com where you can't have the boonie hat or the bucket hat because they don't sell the hats anymore, but they've got a whole bunch of other options, including puffy jackets for the lovely cold weather. Make sure you order it a little big because the sizes run a little small, but you can use coupon code reloading at checkout to save a couple bucks. Thanks to all of our Patreons who help support this show. Thanks to everybody that joins us live in the chat. Anybody got any shout outs?
No.
Okay.
Big one, just thanking Derek again for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Shout out to Derek, kidsafefoundation.org. Yeah, just awesome program. I want to see it expand, get out to all 50 states. And serious, I want to see firearm safety back in the schools. So contact, you're probably not going to get through your school boards, but maybe you can get through your legislators and have them put it back in at the state level, or maybe we can get it through at the national level. I don't know, but definitely need to get it back in the schools. That's where it needs to be the most effective. It's not even a matter of promoting more people owning firearms. It's a matter of keeping people safe, keeping the kids safe. Because right now, too many parents are trying to hide firearms from the kids and keep the kids away from firearms. And guess what, kids? Guess what, dads? Guess what, moms? Guess what, people of all genders? It doesn't work. Because as soon as a kid sees it, they go, ooh, shiny, and they pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first thing they do is they put their finger on that trigger and they pull. Because nobody told them what it does. And then they find out the hard way. So they need to know. It's very important. So, all right, gang. On that note, keep your breath shiny.
Jump on the Millsap short bus.
Teach them to shoot and reload when they're young.
Sherenda.
You're up, Sherenda.
Show a lady how to reload and let her pinch off your stash.
Grandpa told me, he said,
Y'all didn't hear
don't
me?
listen to your mama. Oh, yeah, we heard you. Grandpa said, don't listen to your mama. Violence does solve problems.
Support the Second Amendment. Local, state, national organizations. Make sure you're contacting your elected representatives, whether that's local, state, national. Being nice about it. And just make sure you're, supporting good causes. Make sure you're paying attention to where your money's going and who it's going to. So, Tin Man 4X said the world needs a proper substitute for Trail Boss. Guess what? They're making Trail Boss again in Australia anyway, and Hodgdon's working on trying to get it back here.
And we should have a guest here next couple weeks to a month that might know an answer on that because he's part of that family. So
calm down.
Well, Gavin just did a video.
But didn't Hodgson put a PSA out on that?
Yeah, Chris did. Yep.
Hey, Tin Man. I've got 2 bottles, you don't got none. I got 2 bottles, you ain't got none.
I think Gavin from Ultimate Reloader just put a video out talking about a good substitute that he did some.
What was it?
Tight group?
Tight group?
Yeah,
tight group or tight wad? You know.
That's still just as hard
remember.
to find.
Yeah.
Tight group? Oh, it's right there.
Oh, of course. Yeah, on a shot. I have some too.
There.
No.
Oh, there's an
use it.
4-pounder.
The idea behind Trail Boss was real bulky, so it filled the case.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's, tight group, tight wad. They don't do that. They're not the same.
Well, then what the hell are you bitching for, you whiner?
I'm not bitching.
No, Tin Man. He says he has 6.
Like, I'll give you guys. I'll give him the answer. What we heard from the horse's mouth at SHOT Show.
God.
They are getting it looked at, produced. They just need to find it a feasible and viable and affordable way to get it back. That's the biggest issue right now is where they're fighting.
Yeah, because it's not going to be cheap to get it back.
No. Like I talked to a shop here that sells powder that I buy all my powder from. Until diesel prices come down, because everything's got to come in from the coasts. Until the diesel prices come down, we're not going to see anything on these fronts come down.
Yep.
I listened to what's going on with shipping, and they were talking about the cost of containers now. And, you know, it used to be a container was $2,500, you know, to get onto a ship. They're talking, some of them are going up to $6,000 or $7,000, you know, and that's coming out of China. Now, you tell me if it's coming out of Australia. That's got to be a lot more because the volume ain't there.
Yep. So,
and you know,
and it's not like you're talking about shipping, even. You know, I mean, the amount of powder, you're probably talking 10 containers at most.
Oh, you know how much you can get in a.
Oh, I know how much you can get in.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying at most 10 containers.
Yeah. Got to take care of pretty much of the half the United States. Yeah.
For retail, yeah.
Yeah.
So
when did Hodgson give up making powder here?
Hodgson has never really been a powder maker.
no, they've always been a supplier.
They've been a supplier.
Somebody else.
What they did was they used at first was $48.95, and then it was $48.31. Was demilled after World War II. Demilled powders from 30-06, 20 millimeter, 50 cals, 30 30 carbine, 45 ACP. They would demill it and sell it that way.
Yeah, he literally bought a train car full.
Right.
Chris told us the story when he was on the first time. So
Accurate Powder started out the same way, demilled powder. So the manufacturers were IMR, you know, was DuPont, and that was I think it was in Maryland, was their big plant for the longest time. St. John's was out of Scotland. Yeah, you know, he just picked up powder wherever they could. There was, of course, we have, you know, Winchester Western was in Florida. Hey, you know, this is it. And then he started buying up the companies. You know, Winchester didn't want to handle it anymore, so it was an interesting, you know, progression. And,
one night we'll do a history on it.
Yeah.
But I got to do a lot of research before that happens. So
Yeah, so it's not changed. So truly, reloaders are still using for powder surplus powder.
oh, all of the reloading supplies are surplus. Okay. Everything that we have, except for the equipment, is all of the supplies. As far as the primary for brass bullets, primers, and powders, that's all surplus. That's all.
No, not anymore. I mean, we have, look at ADG, Alpha Munitions, Peterson. We have companies that are making primers now that we have that, you know, that are new on the market.
Well, yeah, I mean, within the last, I guess within the last 5 years, 10 years, it's kind of changed a little bit, but you're still talking the majority of it surplus stuff.
Yeah, but
It's-
bullets. I mean, bullets are made. Sierra, Hodgson. I mean, not Hodgson. What's the other one with an H? What's that company?
Oh, the one that bench addict
Yeah,
hates.
bench addict.
Hornady.
hates, Yeah. Spear.
But I mean, for
You
the primary, for the most part, all of those bullets are made for ammunition, and then it's an afterthought that they're sold as, because if you look back when we had shortages, why did we have shortages?
We had
Well-
shortages. We had shortages because of the material and the supplies and everything else.
I'm not
And
talking
yes,
just COVID.
Yeah,
So-
no, we had shortages of supplies, and yes, we did have the U.S. government buying up lots of stuff that they were making, and and I've been to the plants and seen what they do, and I mean,
It's definitely
Like I
different
s-
than it was. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like it was. So,
no,
but
no,
and it's definitely the good news is out of this last one, instead of the industry poo-pooing reloaders and saying, like it always has, oh well, you're second fiddle, the industry
Not
actually
anymore.
said, oh wait a minute, you guys actually are important. We actually are gonna, and there's companies that are coming into existence specifically for us.
Sure.
So,
Sure. I mean, we have companies coming up all over the place to make things. I mean, you could always get like Barry's bullets and all that kind of stuff when the shortage was happening.
mhm.
There were lead casters out there you could buy bullets for.
Yeah.
The hard part was getting primers and powder.
Yep.
And first it was primers. I remember going to gun shows and buying 5,000 or 10,000 primers at a time because that's the only place I could get them and paying premium for them.
Yeah.
So, powders was a lot harder when we,
Yep.
had shortages.
Still
But
is.
It's
Powder's,
gotten a lot
powder's
better.
still, yeah, I mean, powder's still the weak point in the industry, though.
I know, but we're sitting there and we're finding out that the Hodgdons, the Alliance, and the powder
Vitivory.
Vitivory and is the one that's saving us a lot right now because
Right.
they are one keeping their price down.
Yeah.
Okay. And two is actually having supplies of their powder.
hmm
So there's a lot of us that are switching from Varget to N150 or N140 and saying, okay, I can't get any 48.95. Okay, well, there's N150. Okay. Yeah, we can, it's getting hard to get the Hodgson powders that we're used to, and no, we can get Vitivory powders at what we were paying at what we thought were premium prices before. Now at prices in the $30 and $40 range for a pound.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
you turn around and buy a pound of Varget for $58. Okay.
Yep.
So.
All right. Well, we could carry this conversation on forever.
Oh
but-
yeah. Yeah.
So, last and most importantly, gang, if you're struggling, mental health is important. We want you here. We want to help you with that struggle. We want to see you win that fight. So 988 or 1-800-273-8255. If you're really struggling, otherwise you can go to Walk the Talk America, and there's some good resources there too. So, get some help. It's important we have you here. Thanks, folks. Good night.
Good night, all.
Good night.